we mentioned the L visa. How does the L visa work, and how is it different from the categories that you described previously?
Yeah, the L visa is called the intercompany transferee visa. And so this visa, it allows two different pathways to the United States. One for individuals who are managers or executives who have been working for a foreign company for 1 out of the last 3 years. They can then transfer to the United States as a manager or an executive for a US office. And so this is a very common visa that's used for big organizations who have multiple offices around the world. They may be moving banks or VPs or managing directors back and forth from New York to Hong Kong to Shanghai, just executives moving around. It's been very common for that. But one thing that's actually really unique and valuable out of this type of visa category is that it actually allows you to set up a new US office. And so if you've got a company overseas that you've been working at for 1 out of the last 3 years, you can actually transfer yourself as a manager or an executive to open up that new US office. And it's been utilized by a lot of small, mid-sized companies as well. So it's a great way to actually get a business up and running in the States. There's no minimum investment required. You just have to have a U.S. office space. You need a good business plan, and that's about it. You have to have a company registered in the States, obviously, but very minimal as compared to some of the other investment visas. So it's a great way if you want to set up a branch, affiliate, subsidiary, some type of a relationship like that.
Okay. So the company, like the sponsoring organization, the one from outside of the US, how long should it have been trading in business to be considered like credible? And is there like any minimum turnover for that company outside as a sponsoring organization?
There's a lot of speculation about minimum turnover, but actually there isn't any in the law. But the company itself, it definitely has to have been operating for at least a year, because the individual themselves that's going to be transferred has to have been working there for at least a year. And so, you know, the longer that it's been operating, of course, the larger it is, the more employees it has, all of that looks good. But we have been able to successfully get smaller and mid-sized organizations using this visa. So it is a great option if the company doesn't want to make a huge investment in the States.
And is it restricted to certain jurisdictions like the e-visa, or is it like anyone from any part of the world has a fair chance of getting in?
Yeah, anybody can utilize it. In fact, we're doing more than a handful of L1 visas for individuals from Myanmar who have operations, for example, in Myanmar, but also maybe in Singapore or outside. And now, just because of the difficulty, the political uncertainty, and so forth in the Myanmar, they're utilizing this visa as a way to maybe move some of their operations to the United States and set up a new U.S. office. And so, no, it's not tied to any particular country. Anybody can use it.
Right. And so the individual now who's trying to qualify for the visa, they are going to be leading like market entry, right? So they need to be at least have 1 year's experience with that company. But what about their personal qualifications, like a master's degree, or, you know, is there like a minimum salary for them? Because this is like a senior person, right?
Yeah, you know, all of those things, surprisingly enough, there's nothing in the law that says there's minimum, but yes, this is exactly what you've mentioned. The more higher of a caliber person in terms of education, experience, salary, management experience, decision-making experience. I mean, this is the person that's going to be in the U.S. opening up this new U.S. office. So they're going to have to get their feet on the ground and know how to operate, generally with limited support and so forth. So generally more of a mature person. And also in most contexts, English is really an asset just to get through the interview, because I've had some clients who go through L1 interviews and that person is asking what you just asked. So you're going to be the only one in the US. Well, if they have trouble articulating what they're going to do, it kind of gives pause in the consular officer's mind that maybe they might have some trouble. So yeah, good English, good education, just usually an all-around high caliber person.
Right. And in one of the previous visa categories, you mentioned that it's a red flag if the applicant has shareholding or ownership in the US entity. Is that so? In this case, if the person is one of the shareholders or perhaps the CEO of the company outside of the US that wants to in turn go set up in the US, is that owner allowed to do that? Is that okay?
They can do that. There are a couple of different tweaks and finessing of those types of cases that we do. We just have to be able to show the government that if you've got the CEO of, company X in Singapore leaving, well, what's going to happen to that company? Do they have a successor? Who's going to fill his shoes or his or her shoes when that person leaves? So all of that needs to be explained. But yeah, absolutely. We've done it many times.
Okay, great.
Please subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Our books and upcoming events are available at htj.tax. Email us at help@htj.tax to engage us, to advise on international tax or business matters.